Okay, so you guys have sent in some really interesting material for us to dig into.
Yeah, this stuff looks great.
Yeah, it's basically like somebody kind of took their whole entrepreneurial journey and kind of boiled it down into like a philosophy of sorts.
Yeah, kind of a blueprint for success in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to try to do in this deep dive is like, really unpack that.
Get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, see what the actionable stuff is and see how that could, be relevant to you guys wherever you are in your own journey right now.
I think what's really cool is this is based on somebody's real experience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not just like a
It's not
theoretical.
just theory, yeah.
Yeah.
This is, battle-tested stuff, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So they lay this out kind of as like a framework, and they use this acronym special.
Oh,
So I thought we could kind of go through each of the letters in the acronym and sort of
unpack it.
unpack it. Yeah, exactly. So the first one, S, is strive for greatness every single day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. And when you hear greatness, it sounds so
It does sound so big.
huge, overwhelming. Yeah. But like they're really talking about it as like a daily commitment.
Yeah, like a habit almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think what they're getting at is that greatness is not this like one-time achievement.
Yeah.
It's not like you arrive at greatness.
Yeah.
It's an accumulation of consistent actions that you take, you know?
It's the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the everyday decisions.
Yeah, and like having that high standard for yourself even when no one's watching. You know what I mean?
Especially when no one's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when it really counts.
Yeah, and they have this great story in here about they had a client and they were installing a fence for this client
Okay.
and they hit all these snags with bad weather and delays and they were really up against a tight deadline.
Ugh, that's the worst.
Yeah, and they were like super tempted to just like get it done, just like cut some corners and just be like whatever.
Yeah, just like slap it together.
Yeah. Yeah, but they decided to prioritize quality over speed.
That's a tough call in the moment.
Oh, it's a super tough call.
Yeah.
But what's so interesting is they said that that decision ended up having this like huge long-term impact because that client became like their biggest advocate.
Oh, wow.
They were telling everybody about them and giving them all these referrals.
So it's like that decision to kind of go the extra mile, even though it was inconvenient in the moment,
Yeah.
paid off, like in spades.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like a financial payoff. It was like
Yeah.
it was like a reputation payoff too.
Reputation. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think like when you think about whatever you're working on right now,
Hmm.
is there a place where you could, apply that same principle of just like refusing to compromise on quality?
Yeah, like where could you go the extra mile?
Yeah, and really create that like legacy of excellence,
Yeah, because that's what they're talking about,
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be something huge,
Yeah.
It could be like the way you follow up with a contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that extra bit of polish.
Yeah, or even just like committing to learning something new every day.
Yeah, like how are you investing in the quality of your own work every day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so let's move on to the next letter in special, which is P.
Right.
And this is push through obstacles with persistence and determination.
I mean, everybody says that, right?
Right. We hear this all the time, but like the way they're talking about it here is like a little bit different.
Yeah, it's not just about like gritting your teeth and like powering through.
Right.
It's almost like acknowledging that those challenges are going to be there.
Yeah.
Like they're part of the journey.
You can't escape them, right?
You can't escape them. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about how you respond to them.
Yeah.
The people who are successful, they don't let those setbacks become like stopping points.
Right.
They're able to see them as temporary and they're able to keep that bigger vision in mind. Yeah, they kind of use this analogy of like, you're climbing a mountain and there's like a boulder in your path. You don't just like give up and go home.
No, you find a way around it.
Yeah, you find a way around it. You climb over it, you know?
Yeah, you get creative.
You get creative, exactly.
I love that.
And they have this story in here about, they had this major project that totally fell through.
Oh, that's got to be tough.
Oh, yeah. That's like the kind of thing that can really like, knock the wind out of your sails.
Yeah.
But what they did was they didn't just like wallow in self-pity.
Right.
They used that as an opportunity to reassess like, okay, what went wrong?
Right.
How can we improve our processes?
Like, what do we learn from that?
Yeah, exactly.
So that next time we're even better.
Exactly. And then when like the next big opportunity came along, they were like ready,
They were prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that persistence, wasn't just about blindly pushing forward. It was about learning and refining and getting better, you know?
It's like resilience in action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So I guess the question for our listeners is like, you know, think about a time when you faced a significant obstacle,
Yeah.
and how did choosing to persist ultimately shape your path, you know?
Sometimes those are the moments that make all the difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the classic hero's journey, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to face those challenges to grow.
Yeah. All right. So the next letter E is embrace your uniqueness and talents.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah. This one really resonates with me because I feel like, in a world where we're often told to like fit in,
Yeah.
you know,
Be like everybody else.
yeah, this is like a really powerful counterpoint.
Yeah, like celebrate what makes you different.
Exactly. And they're basically saying that, trying to be like a watered down version of your competition is actually like limiting your potential.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you're blending in instead of standing out. Right. It's your unique perspective, your
Mhm.
skills, your way of doing things that's going to set you apart.
And that's what's going to attract the right people to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they even talk about how, like, at first they were trying to like copy what other people were doing in their industry.
Oh, really?
And then they realized that like that was not working.
Yeah, you got to find your own lane.
Yeah, you got to find your own lane. And they had this quote. I love this quote. It's like,
Okay, what is it?
why be a second-rate version of someone else when you can be a first-rate version of yourself?
Ooh, that's good.
Right? So it's like your uniqueness isn't a weakness to be overcome.
Yeah.
It's like a strength to be like leaned into.
I think so many people are afraid to do that, though,
I know it's scary.
to like really be themselves.
Yeah, but that's what makes you stand out.
That's what makes you memorable.
Exactly. Yeah, and they give this example of this company called Privacy Fence Company.
Okay.
And their whole thing was like they didn't just sell fences. They sold like this whole experience of like personalized hands-on service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they built these relationships with their customers, and that's what like really set them apart.
Yeah, so it's not just about the product itself. It's like the whole package.
Yeah, it's a whole
The
experience.
whole experience.
So I guess the question for you listening is like, what are your unique strengths?
Yeah. What are those things that you do differently?
Yeah, that you might be overlooking, that you could really lean into.
And then how do you bring that into your business?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think sometimes we don't even realize like what makes us special, you
Yeah,
know?
probably.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the C in special.
All right.
This is choose to have a positive mindset no matter what.
I mean, easier said than done, right?
Oh my God. So
Oh.
much easier said than done, especially when things are like going sideways.
Especially when things are going sideways.
Yeah, but they're really emphasizing here that like your mindset has such a profound impact on your reality.
They're saying it shapes your reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, they say like the way you think will shape your reality.
Wow.
So it's about like consciously choosing to focus on possibilities and solutions,
Yeah.
even when you just want to like curl up in a ball and like
Give up.
give up. Yeah.
Nah, it's about staying optimistic, even when it's hard.
Yeah. And you know that quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's so true, though.
It is so true.
Because, like, if you believe you can do something...
You're way more likely to find a way to make it happen.
Exactly. And if you believe you can't do something...
We're going to find all the reasons why you can't.
Yeah. And you're going to, like, self-sabotage, you know?
You've totally been there.
Oh, yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
So they talk about how, like, there were times when, like, everything seemed to be falling apart, and they just made this conscious decision to focus on, like, okay, what are the potential solutions here?
Yeah.
And that's what, like, led them through those tough times.
It's about shifting your focus from the problem to the solution.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess, like, think about a time when, maybe a negative mindset held you back. And what could have happened if you had approached that situation with a more positive outlook, you know?
It's all about perspective.
Yeah. And it's not like you have to be, like, toxic positivity.
No.
Like, you can acknowledge that things are hard, but it's like...
Yeah, but there's always a way forward.
Yeah, there's always a way forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to I, which is invest in yourself and your dreams.
Okay.
This feels like the foundation of
I know.
everything.
Yeah, like you got to invest in yourself before you can invest in anything else.
Exactly. Yeah, and they have this quote here that I absolutely love. It's success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become.
Ooh, that's good.
Right? So it's like, it's not about chasing after external achievements. It's
Right.
about like cultivating your internal growth.
Yeah, becoming the kind of person who attracts success.
Exactly. And they talk a lot about the importance of mentorship. And they specifically mention Les Brown and Tony Hody.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, so Les Brown is like, all about like, keep pushing forward, fight for your dreams,
Yeah.
like show up every day, believe in yourself, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like that motivational energy.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Tony Hody is more about like the importance of integrity and like serving people
Oh, wow.
and building something that's like,
Lasting.
lasting. Yeah, and like your business being a reflection of yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so it's like, mentorship can come in so many forms.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a formal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like reading books,
Yeah.
listening to podcasts, attending conferences, like,
Taking courses.
yeah, taking courses, surrounding yourself with people who are doing what you want to do.
Exactly, yeah.
And the text also talks about like, personal development, like,
Yeah.
reading books, going to conferences, acquiring new skills. It's just like this constant process of like evolving and becoming better.
Yeah, like you're never done learning.
Yeah, you're never done learning, exactly.
Work in progress.
Yeah, so like, think about where you need to invest in yourself right now to fuel your dreams,
Yeah.
Like what knowledge, what skills, what connections could really help you level up,
It's like a really powerful question to ask yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so A in special is accept challenges as opportunities for growth.
Ooh.
So this kind of echoes the push through obstacles thing,
Right.
but it's like with a slightly different emphasis,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, because push through obstacles is about like, continuing despite the challenge.
Yeah.
But this is about like reframing the challenge itself.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, like seeing it as a chance to learn and grow.
So it's not a setback, it's like an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And they talk about how like, that key project that fell through,
Right.
it actually led them to like reevaluate their processes and improve their systems and like strengthen their client relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like that failure ended
Yeah.
up being like this huge catalyst for growth.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the key here is like, it's easy to like get caught up in the difficulty of the moment,
Yeah.
but like if you can kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture,
Yeah.
you can start to see those challenges as like tests,
Tests of your character.
Yeah, tests of your character, your resilience, your commitment.
Yeah, and I think if you can reframe it that way,
Yeah.
it becomes a lot less daunting.
Yeah, and you can even like start to welcome those challenges,
Yeah, because they're going to lead to growth.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. All right, so the last one out. This one might seem a little bit out of place.
Okay.
But it's love yourself and others unconditionally. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of cheesy.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit woo-woo.
Yeah, but like they're really talking about this as like a fundamental principle of success. And they're not just talking about like romantic love. They're talking about like love for yourself.
Self-love.
Yeah, love for your team, love for your customers,
Yeah.
love for like the work itself.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and they're saying that when you approach your business with love, it brings this like totally different energy. It's not just about the bottom line. It's
Yeah.
about like making a difference.
It's about connecting with people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they tell this really cool story about this client that came to them with this like really small project.
Okay.
And they treated this client like they were their most important customer.
Uh,
Yeah. And you know what? That client ended up giving them tons of referrals.
wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't just because of like the quality of the product. It was
Right.
because of how they were made to feel.
Yeah.
They felt valued. They felt appreciated.
So it's like that human connection
Exactly.
made all the difference.
Yeah. So it's like, love can be expressed in so many ways in business.
Yeah.
It's about serving your clients with excellence. It's about treating your employees with respect.
Yeah.
It's about giving back to your community.
Yeah, it's about making the world a better place.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, how can you bring more love into your own business?
Yeah.
Like what are some practical ways that you can show up with more empathy and more compassion?
I think that's a really powerful question to end on.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
This special blueprint.
Yeah.
It's a lot to digest.
It is.
But I think like the key takeaway here is that, achieving greatness is not some like passive thing.
Right.
It's an active journey.
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
Yeah, you got to put in the work. And it's not always going to be easy.
Yeah.
You're going to face challenges,
You're going to hit roadblocks.
You don't want to give up.
Yeah.
But it's about like having that commitment to keep going.
Yeah.
And they keep emphasizing this point that like this capacity for greatness is already within you. You know, it's not something you have to go out and find.
No.
It's about like unlocking it.
Yeah. You already have everything you need.
Exactly. So like the question is like, are you willing to do the work?
Yeah. Are you willing to show up every day?
Are you willing to commit to this journey?
Yeah. To push through those tough times.
Yeah. To believe in yourself.
Yeah. That's the key.
Yeah. And, this special thing, it's like a roadmap.
Yeah. It gives you a framework.
It gives you a framework for building a life and a business that's based on like, excellence and resilience and impact.
Yeah, I love that.
So I guess the final thought here is like, the world needs your unique contribution.
Yeah.
Like your ideas, your talents, your passion, your vision.
It's true.
And it's up to you to bring it,
Don't wait for permission.
Yeah, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment.
Yeah.
Just start now.
Take that first step.
Yeah, even if it's just a small step.
Yeah, any step is better than no step.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's it for this deep dive into special stuff.
Great stuff.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.